We're going to start by adding our final piece here and building our grid portions. We're going to start by putting a spacer underneath our current box just to keep them separated so that our boxes don't butt up against each other. And we're going to put in a content color box right underneath here. Now I'm going to make the box black because I'm going to be putting things inside of it. So I'm going to leave it as black so that when my tables show up, my tables will show up as white. Therefore, we'll be able to see them. I'm going to put another spacer at the very top just so that as I drag things into here, it's not butting up against the very top. All right, time for our simple table. So we're going to drag our simple table underneath that spacer, and we're going to edit the table as it gets placed in. So you can see that right now we have 4 columns and 3 rows. We're going to change this. I always stick with 2 rows because my top row, which I'm going to change the title background to maybe an orange. The top row always has kind of the name of my box, and the bottom row is my content. I'm going to also change my columns down to 1 because I'm starting from the top down, and my level 5 usually only has 1 column. You can feel free to have as many as you'd like. I'm going to drag text right to the left of my table because this is where I label my levels. So I'm going to say level 5. It's also where I put my learning target or learning targets if you have multiple. Now I'm going to align this with the left. I'm actually going to make the level 5 a little larger so that it stands out right away. You'll notice that when I drag my text, it moved my simple table all the way over here. If you kind of highlight over this divider is going to show up. I'm going to drag that all the way over there because I'd like my table to have more space than my text does. My text, I can always make it larger or smaller, but I can also, as I start typing, it's going to keep spacing out and just structure the table a little bit more vertically. All right, so now I'm going to add a spacer underneath this simple table. Then we're going to add another simple table. And that will be our level 4. So again, I'm going to take this and my first couple changes, I'm going to make it 2 rows, and let's say we go down to 3 columns. Change the title background and maybe a green. I keep each row a different color. That way it's very easy for my students to differentiate when they're moving to a different level. Other thing, you can click anytime you want. You can move this box around, and this is kind of all your editing to your table. My grids change every single grid. So not every grid has the same amount of, when I drag my text in, not every grid has the same amount of columns that this one does. So that is always something that you can edit. All right, we're going to move this, align it to the left. And then I'm going to highlight this divider, drag it over so it lines up here. Now you would add a spacer and then you would just continue this exactly what you see. You would repeat this step 3 more times to get level 3, level 2, and level 1. Other thing I want to show you is I like to put answer keys for my students into some of my levels. If I want to do that, I can drag text right kind of underneath the table. And if you keep it over to the middle, it'll go all the way. If you just want it under your table, just move it a little to your right. Shows up right there. I can maybe put answer key. Let's say page 1, whatever I call it. I can highlight. I can click link, and I can link a website. I can link another page on my website. I can link a file. Now, a file would be a PDF, a picture, anything like that. So a lot of times if I have my answer key and I scan it, I can upload it that way. I click upload new, and it'll open up to all of your files. You can choose your file and press upload. Don't forget to hit publish every once in a while. That way it's saving what you've made. It also is updating your website if this is already linked for your students. That's the last piece I'd like to show you is how to actually take this page, since it's not up here, and link it for your students. So we're going to go back and click pages. We've got all these options. Now, before you make another grid or start editing this page, you would want to click on blank grid and click copy. Now you've created a copy of this blank grid. This is the one that I would suggest editing. So let's say we call it grid number 1. You can change this to also say grid. Whoops. And change this to say grid number 1. Now, if we want to link that grid, we're going to go to our grid page, because that's what the kids will see up here. You're going to go over to build. I'm going to drag a content color box. I'm going to leave it whatever color it is, but you can change it if you'd like. I'm going to drag title so that my font is actually already a pretty large size. So let's say we're linking grid number 1. I'm going to highlight that text. I'm going to go to the link button. I'm going to link a standard page because this is already a page on your site. And I'm going to click grid 1. Now you can see it's linked. You can click anywhere over here, click publish. This is now updating your site. So now if I click home, this is my home page. If you click grids, you're going to see grid number 1. And when the kids are actually on your site, they can click this right here and it'll take them directly to that page. You can also, if you want to go to your actual site, all you have to do is go to meganteachbetter.weebly.com. And you're going to see what we've been seeing. So if I click on grids, I can click on grid number 1, and this is exactly what your students would see, everything that you've created. And you see this gets a little bit smaller because you just don't have any writing in there yet. Once you have your writing, you'll see exactly what we were seeing here. All right, I hope that this has helped you see what a Weebly is, understand what a Weebly is, and hopefully if you'd like to start using a website to host all your grids, you have an easy way to create your very first Weebly with your grids.